Hello, you're kicking off this Saturday's edition of QPVN English News Bulletin. You're with Milinchi and here come the advice. Vietnamese bamboo diplomacy in Ho Chi Minh era. Seminar spotlights Geneva Agreement on cessation of hostilities in Vietnam. Vietnam and EU look to enhance cooperation. According to the Board of Health Protection and Care for Essential Officials, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng passed away at the age of 80. After a period of illness, despite wholehearted treatment and care from the party's leading medical experts and his family, the party leader breathed his last at 1:38 p.m. on July 19, 2024, at Central Military Hospital 108. The Party Central Committee, the National Assembly, the State President, the government, and the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee will issue a special communique about the organization of a state funeral for General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng. For many generations, the bamboo tree has always been attached to the Vietnamese people. With unique characters, it is used as a metaphor to describe the resilience, flexibility, and strength of the Vietnamese nation. At the National Conference on Foreign Affairs on December 14, 2021, General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng used the image of bamboo to position Vietnamese diplomacy in the Ho Chi Minh era. That is, the independent diplomacy, autonomy, multilateralization, diversification and integration, perseverance in principles, flexibility in strategy, united and humanitarian for peace, cooperation and development. That is also a simple generalization about Vietnam's stance, views and policies.
Stem-gaunt, fragile lips, the bamboo forms ramparts. Green bamboo, evergreen, despite gravel soil and fertile loam soil. During the two resistant wars against the French colonialists and American imperialists, Vietnamese diplomacy played an active role in combining natural strength and the strength of the times to win the final victory. Along with military victories on the battlefield, diplomacy during this period promoted intelligence and bravery to record milestones in the nation's history, with the Geneva Accords in 1954 and the Paris Peace Accords in 1973. In the renewal period, building on the nation's cultural traditions, implementing President Ho Chi Minh's teaching of being friends with all democratic countries, General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng is determined to build and develop a unique and special diplomacy with strong Vietnamese bamboo characters that is soft and wise, but still persistent, flexible and creative but consistent, and humanitarian but resolute. That is imbued with the soul, spirit and strength of the Vietnamese people. Relying on power as a basis, the diplomacy uses multilateralization, diversification of foreign relations and international integration to create momentum and opportunities. That is the strength of solidarity with the main motto of combining natural strength with the strength of the times of legitimacy, justice, humanitarian, respecting the law and conform to the progressive trend of the times. So far, the Vietnamese bamboo diplomacy in particular and the country in general have taken firm root and grow with stronger branches with profound achievements despite ups and downs of the time. Our diplomacy is both steadfast in principles and flexible in strategies, soft and clever but also resilient and determined, flexible and creative but also brave and steadfast, for the independence and freedom of the nation, for the happiness of the people. We are united and passionate, but also resolute and persistent in protecting our national interests. Like the Vietnamese bamboo trees, we see them so special with thin trunk and fragile lips, but how can they be built up together into strong fortresses? The Vietnamese bamboo diplomacy has also conveyed a strong message about a Vietnam country with a foreign policy of independence, self-reliance, peace, friendship, cooperation, development, multilateralization, and diversification of foreign relations. Vietnam is a friend, a trusted partner, and an active, responsible member of the international community. To date, Vietnam has developed diplomatic relations with 192 out of 200 countries in the world, including 7 comprehensive strategic partners, 18 strategic partners, and 12 comprehensive partners. At the multilateral level, Vietnam is an active and responsible member of more than 70 international organizations and forums. That is the success of the Vietnamese bamboo diplomacy. Regarding the bamboo diplomacy that Vietnam is pursuing, I find it suitable for Vietnam to ensure a favorable environment for building and defending the fatherland, in which it is seen that Vietnam's bamboo diplomacy has been bringing more and more benefits to the country, especially in promoting peace, safeguarding the national sovereignty, resolving hot political and security issues in accordance with regional and international standards.
Tình hình càng phức tạp.
The more complicated the situation is, the more persistent in principles and flexible in strategies our diplomacy becomes. Vietnam's foreign policy is based on that immutable identity. In face of the global changes, our foreign policy is always aimed for the national interest and justice of humankind, contributing to the world of peace, cooperation, stability, and development. That is also the pioneering role of foreign affairs in creating and maintaining a peaceful and stable environment, mobilizing extra resources to develop the country, enhancing the country's position and prestige, as confirmed in the resolution of the 13th National Party Congress. As an important part of the party's foreign policy and the Vietnamese diplomacy, defense diplomacy plays an increasingly important role in the course of building and protecting the fatherland. Promoting the diplomatic thought of Vietnamese bamboo, which is steadfast in principles and flexible in strategies, defense diplomacy has well demonstrated its strategic advisory role, proactively and actively advising the party and the state to effectively resolve strategic issues related to national defense, security, and territorial integrity, and well-handled defense relations with other countries to secure the national interests. We need to lift our position in the relations with other countries, both bilaterally and multilaterally, show a stronger voice and a more active diplomatic position, promote innovation, create breakthroughs, be creative in handling all affairs, expand new fields of cooperation, and seek new partners and directions. Defense relations have greatly contributed to realizing the party's senseless foreign policies and deepening the relations between Vietnam and other countries. The work has emphasized Vietnam's foreign policy of independence, self-reliance, peace, diversification, and multilateralization of foreign relations. Vietnam wants to become a friend and a reliable partner of foreign countries and international organizations. We should strengthen forecast and advisory work in defense relations, especially in adjusting strategies when dealing with major countries to stay alert in any situation and work before the motto of safeguarding the fatherland in advance and from afar. It's been proved that Vietnam's diplomacy has greatly contributed to the cause of national construction and defense, so that our country now owns the greatest ever fortune, potentiality, position, and international prestige. Based on Ho Chi Minh thought, methods, lifestyle, and diplomatic art, the Vietnamese Bamboo School of Diplomacy has been cultivated, contributing to building diplomacy being built with the Vietnamese soul, identity, and spirit, and that part bears the mark of a sharp, intelligent politicist and excellent theorist of the party, who devoted his entire life to the ideal of the national independence, socialism, and the happiness of the people with each other.
Coming up next, Seminar spotlights the new agreement on cessation of hostilities in Vietnam. Vietnam and Europe to enhance cooperation. On July the 19th, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of National Defense, and the Vietnam Academy of Social Sciences jointly organized a scientific seminar entitled 70 Years of Geneva Agreement on Cessation of Hostilities in Vietnam under the chair of Minister of Foreign Affairs Bùi Thanh Sơn, Deputy Minister of National Defense Senior Lieutenant General Huy Vịnh, President of Vietnam Academy of Social Sciences Phan Chi Hieu.
The seminar analyzed and clarified specific aspects of the debatable historic victory, the process and results of the Geneva Conference on restoring peace in Vietnam and Indochina. The process of negotiating, signing, and implementing the Geneva Agreement was a handbook containing valuable lessons in foreign affairs, demonstrating the unique identity of the Vietnamese diplomacy. Such lessons have been built on, creatively applied, and developed in negotiation, signing, and implementation of the 1973 Paris Peace Accords, as well as in national construction, development, and protection. The seminar is also an opportunity for today's generation to understand and be grateful for the sacrifices and great merits of previous generations who dedicated their life to the fatherland. Historical significance of the Geneva Agreement on the cessation of hostilities in Vietnam remains intact in the party's foreign policy in new stages.
On the morning of July the 19th in Hanoi, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, Deputy Defense Minister, received Secretary General of the Federal Minister of Defense of Archer, Arnold Camille, who is visiting Vietnam to witness the launching ceremony of the Vietnamese version of the EU's Common Security and Defense Policy Handbook.
General Chiến asked Mr. Camille to promote cooperation in the field of defense between Vietnam and the EU, with a focus on the areas of delegation exchange, defense security dialogue, cooperation between research, training, and UN peacekeeping agencies at the Vietnam Defense Expo 2024. He also affirmed the Vietnam is ready to receive soldiers from the Australian Ministry of Defense to study Vietnamese and attend the Defense Policy Research course at the National Defense Academy. For his part, Mr. Camille stressed that cooperation between Vietnam and the EU within the framework of the FPA agreement will contribute to promoting peace, stability, cooperation, and development in the region and the world. He believed that the launching event will make an important contribution to promoting cooperative relations between Vietnam and the EU, while affirming that promoting cooperation between Vietnam and Australia will contribute to developing relations between Vietnam and the EU in general.
Also on the morning of July the 19th, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, Deputy Defense Minister, received Colonel Giang Bo, incoming Chinese Defense Attaché to Vietnam. Congratulating Colonel Giang Bo on the start of his new term as Chinese Defense Attaché to Vietnam, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến hoped that in his position, Colonel Giang Bo will actively promote bilateral defense cooperation between Vietnam and China in a deeper manner. In particular, the two sides were expected to focus on delegation exchanges at all levels, especially high-level ones, maintenance of dialogue mechanism, cooperation in border management and protection, cooperation between Army Corps and services, party and political work, and young officer exchanges. Colonel Giang Bo affirmed that he would strive to complete his task well during his term in Vietnam, willing to coordinate with authorities of the Ministry of National Defense of Vietnam to promote bilateral defense relations based on the common perceptions of senior leaders of the two countries. On the afternoon of July the 19th, Senior Lieutenant General Phum Sĩ Tấn, Deputy Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, chaired a conference to review the General Department of Defense Secretary's military and defense task performance in the first half of the year and preparation for the Vietnam Defense Expo 2024.
In the first 6 months, the General Department of Defense Secretary successfully directed the implementation of defense secretary tasks with the highlight of proactively carrying out strategic advisory work and state management in defense secretary. The unit has also researched and manufactured weapons and equipment and actively prepared for the Vietnam Defense Expo 2024. General Tấn asked the General Department of Defense Secretary and relevant agencies to closely work with each other to solve existing difficulties, review the preparation for the display area, and ensure security and safety for the exhibition to take place safely and as planned. He also asked agencies to promote the dissemination of the event, especially via mass media and digital platforms.
It's the end of the latest news bulletin today. You can watch the news again at QPVN.vn. Follow goodbye and see you next time.